Robert Horry. Every championship team has a player that's a no-stats all-star, someone who does all the little things that don't necessarily show up in the box score after the game. Robert Horry is one of those players. Nicknamed Big Shot Bob, Horry made a memorable career out of being in the right place at the right time, making smart plays, and of course, making one clutch shot after another in games where the stakes were at their highest. Even though Horry never made an all-star team, the KG veteran won an astounding 7 NBA titles, 2 with the Rockets, 3 with the Lakers, and 2 with the Spurs. In fact, he is one of only 2 players to have won NBA championships on 3 different teams. He can even lay claim to having more titles than the GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. How the heck did that happen? Let's take a look.
Role in the finals against the Knicks.
For the young ones who may not be familiar with Horry's resume, Big Shot Bob was a legend of the 90s who won a combined 7 rings in 16 seasons with the Rockets, Spurs, and Lakers. To be blunt, dude has more rings than anyone that didn't play with Bill Russell in a career. The stats may paint a picture of a decent NBA player, as Horry just averaged 7 points, 4.8 boards, and 2.1 assists per game over his remarkable 16-year career that saw him average just 24.5 minutes per game. However, Horry was anything but just decent, as we were talking about one of the most clutch players the league has ever seen, a guy who scared exactly nobody for 47 minutes and then mortally terrified every one of his opponents, especially the guy that had to guard him for about the last 60 seconds of every game that was ever within one possession at that point on the game clock. Horry was the epitome of clutch. Need proof of the godfather of late game heroics? Here's a few. 1993 Western Conference Semifinals Game 7. Gotta admit, this is a relatively obscure moment in his career, partially because the Rockets would go on to lose the game in the series, but that doesn't change the fact that it was one of his first big buckets in the postseason. 1995 Finals Game 3. Led by the young, dynamic duo of Shaq and Penny Hardaway, who were at their peak of their collective powers, the Magic were the heavy favorites going into that finals. But Hakeem the Dream, with a little help from his hot shooting sidekick, had other plans. With just 14 seconds left in Game 3, Horry nailed a three-pointer that put the Rockets up 104-100 and secured a 3-0 series lead. The Rockets would go on and bring the broom out and sweep the Magic for their second consecutive title.
Olajuwon to the spin. Olajuwon on the back tap. Got blocked. Horry got a piece of it. Horry. No time to wait. Horry for 3. Yes. Shot clock at 6. Horry for 3.
2002 Western Conference Finals Game 4. This was the apex of the Lakers vs Kings rivalry, and it would turn out to be one of the most controversial series of the decade. It's still a sore spot for Sacramento fans, as bitter disappointment eventually gave way to all sorts of conspiracy theories about game fixing and corrupt officiating. All that aside, Horry's buzzer beater in Game 4 tied the series at 2 apiece instead of heading back to Sacramento with the Lakers in a 3-1 hole. It's also arguably the most iconic shot of his career.
Putting a move on Christie. Rebound O'Neal.
Tipped out to Horry, a straight on 3. Good! The Lakers have won!
2005 NBA Finals Game 5. This one isn't as sexy as the aforementioned game winner against the Kings, but it's by far his greatest all-around clutch performance. It's hard to overstate just how big Horry came up in this particular game, as he scored all of his 21 points in the final 17 minutes, and none of them were bigger than the three-pointer he made with 5.8 seconds remaining in overtime to secure a gritty win over the Pistons and head back to San Antonio with the 3-2 series lead.
For the drive, he's going to lay it off to Horry. Three-pointer on the way, got it with 1 point, Ginobili. Horry with Rasheed Wallace coming out. Bowen gets it back out. Horry drives all the way in with Overon Park. Here's Ginobili. To Horry for 3.
Moving on to the counting stats, what do you even call a guy who averages 10.3 points and 7 rebounds per 36 minutes in the NBA? Even when you adjust those numbers for pace, it's not like 11.4 and 7.7 is all-star production. He was a career 42.5% shooter from the field and 34.1% shooter from the three-point range, averaging just 8.8 shots per 36 minutes. And it's not like he's some kind of Dennis Rodman-like rebound hog or rim protector or anything like that. He was a good, at times very good, defender, but he was by no means on the level of someone like Bruce Bowen. He was, for the most part, on the floor as the 4th or 5th option even during his long career off the bench after playing well over half of his career starts in his first 4 years in the league. But then again, that's not what he's known for. 12 points in the 4th quarter, including a 3-pointer that made it a 2-possession lead with 47.1 seconds left of Game 3 in the 2001 Finals on the road in Philadelphia, with the series tied at that point after the Sixers stole Game 1 in LA, leading the Lakers to win the series in 5.
Horry taking to the rim. So they get the ball out of Kobe Bryant's hands, but
Or Vlade Divac swatting the ball away from the basket in hopes that the time the loose ball would be live would run out the clock in Game 4 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals, with the Kings up 2-1, only for the ball to bounce right to Horry, who drilled a 3 as time expired to give the Lakers a 100-99 win to tie the series, and we know how that turned out. The man averaged 7 points a game for his career and still has a 3.8% chance of Hall of Fame probability according to Basketball Reference. If you weren't around for Horry's career, you don't realize how amazing the guy was in crunch time. Other than Michael Jordan or Kobe, nobody struck fear in the hearts of their opponents when they had an open shot in the clutch in the playoffs. Horry didn't shoot the game winner every time. He wasn't the first option on those late game plays. He just had a natural ability to get open or be in the right place at the right time. He was a guy who, if given the chance to break a game open late or end it with the time expiring, he would do so in a heartbeat. And that's just why he has more rings than anyone who never played with Bill Russell. More than Kareem, more than Jordan, more than Shaq, or Kobe. However, before anyone tries to start up an argument that greatness lies in the number of rings a player has, let Horry himself stop you right there. The ring debate is one that is so easily obscured by fuzzy logic. When considering greatness and counting rings, there's more than just how many rings you have, and not all rings are evenly earned. Basketball is a team sport, and you can't consider the ring discussion without considering the team. All these other idiots who don't play basketball and never played basketball, when they say you want to judge a guy's greatness by the number of championships, they're idiots, Horry told in TMZ Sports. While championships bear weight on the conversation, Horry said it shouldn't disqualify players that fell short of the achievement. Here's the thing that people are so stupid about. They measure great players by how many championships they win. It's the stupidest thing, he remarked. That's like saying Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, and Patrick Ewing are not great players. He's got a point here. There are plenty of factors that can make a team win the championship. It's not like Horry will suddenly be considered a better player than Michael Jordan because he has 7 titles more than his airness. That's just preposterous and straight blasphemy. But that does it. Appreciate the view. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, thank you for watching.